Welcome back to Game Arena! And today is a special day, because today we are not just making a list. Today, we are putting together the definitive collection of single-player games that every gamer on this planet, no matter how old you are, no matter what console you play on, absolutely, positively must experience before they leave this earth. We've got 25 games on this list. 25! Some of them will make you cry. Some of them will make you throw your controller. Some of them will make you sit back and go, was that even a video game? Or was that actual art? And we've got a bonus at the end that might just be the most impressive gaming achievement of the last decade. I've been playing games my whole life to bring you this list. This is the Game Arena Ultimate Single Player Bible. Let's get into it. But first, if you're new here, subscribe right now. Seriously, one tap. We make content like this every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Far Cry 3. This game has one of the greatest villains in gaming. You play as Jason Brody, a rich, completely unprepared American tourist who gets kidnapped by pirates on a tropical island and has to become a warrior to survive. That fish-out-of-water story arc is done perfectly. Watching Jason go from terrified kid to trained killer over the course of the game is genuinely compelling. But let's be honest, everyone remembers this game for one reason. Vaas Montenegro. Vaas is the pirate leader, and he is one of the most charismatic, terrifying, unhinged villains ever created. His monologue about the definition of insanity, people still quote it to this day. Michael Mondo's performance is so magnetic that every single scene he's in, you cannot look away. The open world on Rook Island is also incredible. Lush jungle, beaches, mountains, and outposts scattered everywhere for you to take over however you want. Want to go in silent with a bow? Do it. Want to set the whole base on fire and run in with a flamethrower? The island is yours.
I don't have a gun! You're lying! I know you have a—
Detroit Become Human. And this is for anyone who has ever asked, can a video game be as good as a movie? This is an interactive story set in near-future Detroit, where androids have become household servants. You play as 3 different android characters. Connor, a detective hunting deviant androids. Kara, a housekeeper trying to protect a little girl. And Marcus, an android who starts a revolution. 3 completely different stories, 3 completely different tones, all woven together into one of the most politically charged, emotionally devastating narratives in gaming. The game asks questions about consciousness, freedom, slavery, and what it means to be human. And it doesn't give you easy answers. What makes Detroit genuinely unique is that characters can die permanently. If you make wrong choices, characters are gone, and the story adapts around their absence. There are over 40 different endings. This is a game you play multiple times to understand the full weight of every decision. The most cinematic game ever made. Every choice has consequences that actually matter. Dying Light, and this is the game that proved parkour and zombies should always go together. You are an undercover operative dropped into a quarantine zone, an entire city overrun by the infected. During the day, you can run, jump, climb, and vault across the rooftops with some of the most satisfying parkour movement in any game ever made. The city is your jungle gym. But at night, everything changes. When darkness falls, the slow, shambling zombies are replaced by volatiles, fast, aggressive, terrifying hunters that can actually detect you. They hear you breathing. They track your footsteps. Running from a volatile across a dark rooftop at night is one of gaming's most genuinely terrifying experiences. The weapon crafting system is also insane. You can build flaming machetes, electric baseball bats, exploding bolts, and the upgrade system means your weapons evolve with you. Dying Light has hundreds of hours of content and a co-op mode that makes the zombie apocalypse actually fun. The day-night gameplay loop creates genuine tension no other zombie game is matched. Super Mario Odyssey is not just a game. It is a pure, undiluted burst of joy that reminds you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. You and Mario travel across sandbox worlds collecting power moons while using Cappy, Mario's sentient hat, to possess enemies. You can take over a T-Rex and stomp through a jungle. You can possess a Bullet Bill and fly. You can become a literal stack of Goombas. The creativity never stops. Every single level in this game feels like a different universe, with its own rules, its own aesthetic, its own vibe. From the jazz-filled skyscrapers of New Donk City to the wedding-themed kingdom of Bowser's Castle, this game is a masterclass in level design. And for the completionists, there are over 800 power moons hidden across the game. You will be hunting these for months. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, and this is the greatest adventure game ever made. Nathan Drake, treasure hunter, liar, husband, legend. This is his final adventure, and Naughty Dog gave this character the send-off he deserved, one of the most emotionally complete conclusions in gaming history. The gameplay is peak blockbuster, a car chase through Madagascar that lasts 20 minutes and never drops the tension once, cliff faces that crumble as you climb up, gunfights in ancient Scottish ruins while lightning cracks overhead, set piece after set piece after set piece, each one more spectacular than the last. But what makes Uncharted 4 truly special is the story about brotherhood. Nathan's brother Sam, who he believed was dead, comes back into his life and pulls him into one last job. Watching these two brothers, their history, their love, their lies, all of it unravel across the adventure is deeply human storytelling wrapped in the most fun adventure game ever made. Okay, real quick, if you are enjoying this video, please smash that like button. It takes literally 2 seconds and it changes everything for a small channel. And subscribe to Game Arena if you haven't yet. I make videos like this every week and I do not want you to miss what's coming. All right, back to the list. Shadow of the Colossus, and this might be the purest piece of artistic expression ever made as a video game. Here is the entire game. You are Wander. You ride your horse across a vast, mostly empty Forbidden Land. Your goal is to slay 16 colossi, enormous ancient creatures, to resurrect a girl you love. That's it. That's the whole game. There are no random enemies, no side quests, no collectibles. Just you, your horse aggro, and 16 magnificent titans that you must find, study, climb, and defeat. Each Colossus is essentially a puzzle boss. You must figure out how to reach its weak points while holding on for your life as it tries to throw you off. And here is where Shadow of the Colossus does something almost no game has ever done. It makes you feel guilty for winning. These creatures aren't evil. They're just ancient things existing in their world. Every time you kill one and watch it collapse, there's a weight to it, a sadness. This game made people question whether they were the hero or the villain in 2005, before that was even a concept in gaming. I want you to remember this moment, because I am about to tell you about a game that was made by 30 people. 30! Not 300, not 3,000, 30 people from a small French studio called Sandfall Interactive. And what they built in their first ever game is the single greatest single-player RPG experience I have ever had. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 won Game of the Year 2025, 9 awards at the Game Awards, the most wins in Game Awards history. It was nominated for 12, also the most in history. It beat games with budgets 50 times larger. It was made by people who put their entire hearts into something, and the world saw it. The world is inspired by Belle Epoque France, early 1900s Paris, but twisted into a surrealist nightmare. Every year, a mysterious being called the Paintress wakes on her black obelisk and paints a number. Everyone of that age dies. All of them. Instantly. The number goes down by 1 each year, and every year a new expedition is sent to cross the sea and kill the Paintress before she paints again. Every expedition has failed. Expedition 33 is your turn. The combat blends turn-based strategy with real-time actions. You dodge, parry, and counterattack in real time during enemy turns. The strategy of planning your moves fused with the reflex demands of reaction timing creates a combat system that is constantly engaging, constantly exciting. But the story, The story. I cannot tell you specifics. I can only tell you that the characters are written with such depth, performed with such excellence, and placed in situations of such moral weight that you will feel things you did not expect to feel. A reviewer said it best. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and this is the game that proved superhero games can be genuinely cinematic. Insomniac already made 2 incredible Spider-Man games, and then they looked at everything they built and went, okay, but what if both Peter Parker and Miles Morales had to face their biggest challenges simultaneously while Venom is destroying New York? The dual protagonist system is genius. You switch between Peter and Miles on the fly, and they genuinely feel different to play. Peter with the symbiote suit is aggressive, powerful, slightly terrifying. Miles with his bioelectric Venom strike is creative and fluid. 2 completely different combat feels in one game. And New York? Insomniac doubled the map size and added Brooklyn, Queens, and new zones. Web swinging at full speed across Manhattan with the wind sounds in your headphones, skyscrapers blurring past. There is nothing in gaming that feels as free as being Spider-Man in this game. Titanfall 2, and this is the most criminally underrated FPS campaign in gaming history. I know, you're thinking, isn't this a multiplayer game? Yes, and the multiplayer is incredible, but the single-player campaign, 6 hours that go harder than any Call of Duty, Halo, or Battlefield campaign has ever gone. You play as Jack Cooper, a regular soldier who bonds with BT-7274, an AI Titan who is basically a giant mech with the soul of the greatest wingman ever. Their relationship, built entirely through gameplay moments, not long cutscenes, is one of the most genuine emotional bonds in any game. But the mission that makes this campaign legendary is Effect and Cause, a level where you get a device that lets you shift between 2 time periods, past and present in the same space, the same building years apart. Enemies in one timeline don't exist in the other. You're solving puzzles and fighting battles by literally jumping through time. It is the most creative single mission in FPS history. Full stop. The Last of Us Part 2, the most debated, most discussed, most emotionally brutal game of the last decade. I am not going to spoil this game, but I will tell you this, no game has ever made its players feel as conflicted, as devastated, as challenged as The Last of Us Part 2. This game asks you to understand people you don't want to understand. It makes you complete actions you don't want to complete. It does all of this deliberately, because it is trying to tell you something about hate, revenge, and the cycle of violence. The gameplay is some of the best stealth action ever made. Ellie moving through overgrown Seattle, using the environment, the grass, the shadows. Every encounter feels dangerous and real. The sound design alone deserves awards. You can hear enemies breathing in the dark. And then there's Abby's side of the story. Without spoiling anything, just know that Naughty Dog did something courageous with this game. Courageous and correct. The conversation around this game will still be happening in 20 years. If you are enjoying this video, please drop a like. It genuinely helps more than you know. And subscribe if you have not done so. All right, let's continue. Days Gone, the most underrated game on this entire list. Deacon St. John, biker, survivor, man who refuses to move on from a world that's already dead. His motorcycle is his lifeline. You fuel it, upgrade it, protect it like a second character. If it breaks down in a freaker forest at night, you're on foot. Nothing good happens to you on foot at night. The Hordes! Nobody ever talks enough about the Hordes. Not 5 or 10 zombies, hundreds. 500 freakers moving as a single entity, flooding through the environment like a living river. The first time a horde breaks through a fence and comes for you, your entire body reacts. Your palms sweat, your heart rate spikes. You will figure out a plan while also screaming internally. And the story, which starts slow and deliberately, builds into something genuinely moving. This is a game about grief, brotherhood, and what survival costs you. Days Gone got overlooked at launch, and it has a cult following for a reason. Play it. Tell people you played it. Start the revolution. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. And this game has no right to be as good as it is. Breath of the Wild was already considered one of the greatest games ever made. So when Nintendo announced a sequel, everyone's first question was, how do you top that? The answer? give players the ability to build anything. Ultra Hand, Link's new ability, lets you grab, rotate, and attach objects to each other in real time to create structures, vehicles, and weapons. The community has built working tanks, helicopters, automated mining machines, and literal death robots out of tree logs and fans. Nintendo basically handed players a physics sandbox inside a massive adventure game. And then there are the depths, a completely dark underground world beneath Hyrule that is as massive as the surface map, filled with ancient secrets, terrifying enemies, and one of the most fascinating mystery storylines in the series. You could spend 30 hours just exploring down there. Tears of the Kingdom isn't just a sequel, it's an evolution of what open world design can be.
Bioshock Infinite, and this one will mess with your head in the best possible way. Forget everything you think you know about first-person shooters. Bioshock Infinite is set in Colombia, a city that floats in the sky in 1912. You play as Booker DeWitt, sent to rescue a woman named Elizabeth who has been locked in a tower her entire life. And Elizabeth? She has the ability to open tears in reality, rips in space-time that let her pull objects and people from alternate dimensions into the present. The relationship between Booker and Elizabeth is the heart of everything. She's not a sidekick. She's a fully realized character with her own personality, her own fear, her own wonder. Watching her experience the world for the first time, music, dancing, the ocean, is genuinely beautiful. And the ending! Without spoiling anything, the final hour of Bioshock Infinite contains one of the most mind-bending narrative twists in the history of gaming. You will sit in silence when the credits roll, just processing what you experienced.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, released in 2015, still in 2026, the benchmark by which every RPG is judged. Geralt of Rivia, searching for his adopted daughter Ciri across a war-torn world. That is the spine. But the body of this game, the hundreds of hours of quests, stories, characters, and decisions, is unlike anything before or since. The side quests in The Witcher 3 are better than most games' main stories. The Bloody Baron questline, available in the first few hours of the game, is a standalone masterpiece about family, abuse, alcoholism, and love. A side quest. The game has dozens more at that level. Every choice ripples. Every decision echoes forward. Characters live or die based on words you chose hours earlier. And 2 DLC expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, each add 30 hours that are better than most full games. The Witcher 3 is not finished when you finish it. It's barely started. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach is a game about delivering packages across a broken world, and it is the most unique, the most human, the most quietly revolutionary gaming experience of this generation. Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid, designed a game where the main mechanic is connection. You traverse 2 massive maps across post-apocalyptic Australia. You build roads, zip lines, shelters, and every road you build, every structure you place, other real players can use them without ever meeting you. You are helping strangers who will never know your name. In a genre obsessed with violence and domination, Death Stranding 2 asks, what if your purpose was to connect people? What if your impact on the world was measured not by how many enemies you defeated, but by how many lives you made easier? That question, answered through gameplay mechanics, creates one of the most meaningful gaming experiences I've ever had. The story is peak Kojima. Confusing, beautiful, tear-inducing, over-the-top, and unlike anything else. And the sequel improved everything. More action, snappier narrative, 2 full maps. This game deserves to be on every greatest games ever made list. Full stop. Elden Ring won over 300 Game of the Year awards, sold 30 million copies, was created with lore by George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones, and designed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, who created Dark Souls. This is the most acclaimed open-world game in history. There are no quest markers, no tutorials worth mentioning, no explanations. The lands between is dropped in front of you and says, figure it out. Every direction holds something, a hidden dungeon, a legendary weapon, a boss that will destroy you 15 times before you find the pattern that lets you win. And when you win that fight after 15 attempts, 20 attempts, the feeling is unmatched in gaming. Elden Ring built its entire identity around earned triumph. It doesn't give you anything, you take everything. And that makes every moment of success feel like an actual personal achievement.
Ability is far greater.
The original God of War games made Kratos a god-killing rage machine. We loved him for it. But 2018's God of War asked a question that changed everything. What if Kratos had a son and had to learn how to be a father? Kratos and Atreus travel through Norse mythology, and the entire game is shot in one continuous camera take. Not one cut, not one loading screen. One seamless experience from the moment you press new game to the moment the credits roll. That single creative decision makes every quiet moment with Atreus feel as real and present as every explosive boss fight. The Leviathan axe, which you throw and recall to your hand, became an instant icon. The combat is weighty, brutal, and deeply satisfying. And the way Kratos grows as a father, not through speeches, but through small moments, through changed behaviors, through choosing to be better, is some of the most nuanced character work in any medium. A Plague Tale Innocence, and this is the hidden gem that absolutely nobody expected to be this good. France, 1348. The Black Plague is destroying Europe. Amisha de Rune, a teenage girl, is suddenly on the run with her sick 5-year-old brother Hugo, hunted by the ruthless Inquisition, while beneath their feet, millions of rats swarm in living rivers of death. This game has one of the most unique gameplay mechanics ever, light and darkness. The rats cannot enter light, so you're constantly managing fire, torches, and lanterns to carve safe paths through oceans of swarming rats. Running through a battlefield where the ground itself is alive with teeth and claws is unlike anything in gaming. But what elevates this game beyond the mechanics is the relationship between Amisha and Hugo. Watching these two siblings, one trying to protect the other, both terrified, both growing, is genuinely one of gaming's most emotional journeys. Made by a small French studio with a relatively tiny budget, A Plague Tale Innocence is proof that heart and vision beat budget every single time. Next one, and this is the Assassin's Creed that decided to say, forget the Assassins, let's be pirates! Black Flag. Edward Kenway is not a trained assassin with a code of honor. He's a selfish, charming, rum-drinking pirate who stumbles into a conspiracy bigger than himself. And that character energy changes everything. Black Flag feels looser, more fun, and more alive than any AC game before or after it. The naval combat. Let me talk about the naval combat. Sailing your ship, the Jackdaw, through Caribbean storms, firing cannons at British warships, boarding enemy vessels. It is some of the most fun you can have in any game. The first time you fight a legendary ship in a hurricane and win, you feel like the actual king of the Caribbean. And then there are the sea shanties. Your crew sings as you sail. Real, historical pirate shanties, beautifully performed, building an atmosphere so immersive you genuinely forget you're playing a game. Black Flag is the only game that made me want to actually become a pirate.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and this is the sleeper hit of 2025 that not enough people talked about. No dragons, no magic, no superheroes, just medieval Bohemia in 1403. Historically accurate, brutally realistic, and one of the most immersive RPGs ever created. You play as Henry, the blacksmith's son from the first game, now a squire, and the world does not care who you are. Guards will arrest you for stealing bread. Wolves will kill you in the first hour. A conversation can turn deadly if you say the wrong thing. The game's systems demand your attention like a medieval simulator. But here's the thing, once it clicks, once Henry starts growing, learning, becoming competent, the feeling of progression is unlike anything in gaming. You start as a zero who can barely hold a sword and end up as a fully armored knight who intimidates everyone he encounters. That journey feels real because the game made you earn every step of it.
Horizon Forbidden West, the game that makes you stop playing just to take screenshots. Aloy hunts machine dinosaurs in a world where nature reclaims civilization. That sentence sounds ridiculous. It is one of the most beautiful gaming experiences ever made. The combat rewards study and patience. You cannot button mash against a Thunderjaw, a mechanical T-Rex the size of a building. You need to identify weak points, strip armor with the right elemental damage, set traps, use the terrain. Every major encounter is a puzzle with lethal consequences. The world design is extraordinary. From the overgrown ruins of San Francisco to vast deserts to underwater caves filled with ancient machines. And the sci-fi mystery at the heart of Aloy's story, why the world ended, what her true purpose is, pays off in ways that are genuinely mind-expanding. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's get back into it.
Thank you, Gotham. Imprisoned.
Batman Arkham City. And this is the game that literally invented how superhero games are made. Rocksteady took everything from the groundbreaking Arkham Asylum and doubled it. Now Batman has an entire section of Gotham, converted into a massive open prison to patrol. And every single Batman villain you've ever loved is here. Joker, Two-Face, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, Hugo Strange, all operating their own territories in a web of overlapping schemes. The free-flow combat system invented by Arkham City has been copied by literally every superhero game since. Spider-Man, the Avengers game, Gotham Knights, all of them built on the foundation Rocksteady created here. Flowing between 20 enemies, chaining hits, counters, gadget throws. When you're in the zone, it feels like playing a perfectly choreographed action movie. And Mark Hamill's final performance as the Joker in this game, his voice work is so good, it made people genuinely emotional. The story goes places no one expected. This game earns every second of its legacy. Grand Theft Auto 5, the game that refuses to die and refuses to be beaten. Over 200 million copies sold, still in the top 10 most played games in 2026, 13 years after launch. GTA 5 is not just a game, it's a civilization. 3 protagonists, 3 completely different personalities, 3 stories intersecting across the most detailed open-world city ever created. Michael, retired criminal falling apart. Trevor, chaos personified, unpredictable in the best possible way. Franklin, hungry for more, caught between 2 worlds. Los Santos is alive in ways that still haven't been matched. NPCs have conversations, routines, reactions. The city changes by time of day, by weather, by what you've done in the world. And GTA Online, the multiplayer that launched alongside it, has been updated for over a decade and is essentially an entire second game. With GTA 6 coming November 19th, there has never been a better time to play GTA 5 and remember what a phenomenon Rockstar created.
Let's go, boy.
Fallout 4 drops you into the Commonwealth, the radioactive ruins of Boston, and gives you something no other apocalypse game ever dared to give you. Not just a mission, not just a story, a world you can actually rebuild. Scrap abandoned buildings for materials, lay down walls, power lines, guard towers, shops, turn a dead field into a living, breathing settlement full of people who depend on you. 4 warring factions, 13 unique companions, hundreds of weapons you can craft from scratch, unlimited ways to play. This isn't just a game about the end of the world, it's a game about what you build after. And when the raiders come for it, you put on the power armor, a walking metal tank, and you remind them exactly why that was a mistake.
My master. Safe.
Okay, the bonus! And this one genuinely deserves its own video. Black Myth Wukong. This game came out in 2024, and the Chinese gaming industry was never the same. Black Myth Wukong proved to the entire world that a Chinese studio, Game Science, could build a game so technically breathtaking, so combat-rich, so beautifully realized that it could compete with the biggest games from any studio anywhere on Earth. Based based on Journey to the West, one of the most important pieces of Chinese literature ever written. You play as the Destined One, a warrior seeking the truth about the Monkey King's legacy. You fight through 6 chapters of some of the most spectacular boss encounters in gaming history. The staff combat! The staff combat! Spinning, slamming, flowing. Sun Wukong's legendary staff fighting style is translated into one of the most satisfying combat systems ever designed. And the transformation abilities, where you transform into defeated bosses and use their powers, keep the combat fresh for the entire 40-plus hour experience. Black Myth Wukong was the most played game on Steam at launch. It sold 20 million copies in its first year, and it opened the door to an entire new era of world games from studios outside the traditional Western and Japanese industries. For that alone, it is historic. That is your 25 best single-player games everyone must play, Game Arena Edition. With the bonus, that's 26 games, a whole syllabus of greatness. Now, I need you to drop a comment. Tell me, which game on this list is your personal number 1? And which games did I leave off that you think deserve a spot? I want to start that conversation. This video added even one game to your must-play list. Like this video. It means everything to a channel like this. Subscribe to Game Arena if you're not already, hit that bell. See you on the next video.